ever wondered how to pull off the perfect vanishing act? Imagine a wealthy man, a pillar of the community, walking out of his grand country home on a Saturday afternoon and simply ceasing to exist. The police are baffled. The papers are in a frenzy, and the only suspect looks guiltier by the minute. But what if the truth was so audacious, so brilliantly simple, that no one would ever think to look for him in the one place he was guaranteed to be? We were in our warm, cozy sitting room, waiting for an old friend from Scotland Yard to pop round for tea. The great detective, my companion, had just finished his usual ritual. First, he meticulously rearranged the cups and saucers. Our landlady had a habit of scattering across the table with cheerful abandon. Then, he breathed a warm cloud of air onto the gleaming teapot before polishing it to perfection with a silk handkerchief, while the kettle whistled away. A small pan of thick, sweet chocolate bubbled gently on the hob, a continental comfort he much preferred to what he called the poison of English tea. A sharp knock echoed from downstairs, and a moment later, Inspector Japp bustled in, full of energy. "Hope I'm not late," he said, shaking our hands. "To be honest, I've just been having a chinwag with Miller, the chap who's landed the Davenheim case." My ears pricked up immediately. For the past 3 days, the newspapers had been screaming headlines about the bizarre disappearance of Mr. Davenheim, the senior partner of a major city bank. Last Saturday, he'd strolled out of his house for a walk and had not been seen since. I couldn't wait to get some of the inside scoop from Japp. "I must say," I remarked, "I'd have thought it's almost impossible for anyone to properly disappear these days." The detective, who was in the middle of moving a plate of bread and butter a fraction of an inch to the left, stopped and fixed me with a sharp look. "Be precise, my friend," he said crisply. "What do you mean? Disappear? To which category of disappearance are you referring?" I laughed. "Are they classified and labeled?" Then Japp grinned, but the detective frowned at us both. "But of course, they are. They fall into 3 distinct types. First, and most common, is the voluntary disappearance. Second, you have the much overused loss of memory case, which is rare but does happen. And third, he paused for effect, is murder, followed by a more or less successful attempt to dispose of the body. Do you truly believe all 3 are impossible to achieve?" "Very nearly," I insisted. "You might lose your memory, but someone is bound to recognize you, especially a man as famous as Davenheim. And bodies, well, they can't just vanish into thin air. They always turn up eventually, hidden in a ditch or stuffed in a trunk. Murder will always out. It's the same for someone doing a runner with the company's cash. With wireless telegraphy, they can be stopped at any port or station. If they stay in the country, their face is plastered over every newspaper. They're up against modern civilization." "Ah, my dear friend," the detective said softly, "you make one critical error. You fail to account for the possibility that a man who has decided to erase himself or another might be a rare creature indeed. A man of method. A man who applies intelligence, talent, and meticulous planning to the task. If such a man exists, then I see no reason why he shouldn't be able to completely baffle the police." "But not you, I suppose," Japp said with a good-natured wink in my direction. "He couldn't baffle you. Could he? The detective tried and failed spectacularly to look modest. Me? Well, perhaps not. It is true that I approach these problems with an exact science, a mathematical precision that, sadly, seems all too rare in your modern generation of detectives. Jap's grin widened. I don't know about that, he countered. Miller, the officer on this case. He's a sharp one. You can bet your life he won't miss a single footprint, a stray bit of cigar ash, or even a crumb. The man has eyes like a hawk. So has the London sparrow, the detective murmured. But I would not ask a little brown bird to solve the Davenheim puzzle. No. Don't misunderstand me, Jap. I am not dismissing the value of details as clues. They are good in their way. The danger is that they can be given far too much importance. Most details are trivial. Only one or two are truly vital. It is the brain. He tapped his forehead gently. The little gray cells on which one must rely. The senses can mislead. We must seek the truth from within, not from without. Job looked astonished. You do unmean to tell me you'd seriously take on a case without even leaving your armchair, do you? That is precisely what I mean. If the facts were laid before me, I would act as a consulting specialist. Jap slapped his knee with a loud crack. Right then, I'll take you at your word. I'll bet you a $5. You can't tell me where to find Mr. Dead or alive before the week is out. The detective considered this for a moment. My friend, I accept your wager. This passion for sport you English have. Very well. Now, give me the facts. Right, said Jap, settling in. Last Saturday, as usual, Mr. Davenheim caught the 12:40 train from Victoria to his massive country estate, the Cedars. After lunch, he wandered around the grounds, giving instructions to his gardeners. Everyone says he was perfectly normal. After tea, he popped his head into his wife's room and said he was strolling down to the village to post some letters. He also mentioned he was expecting a man named Lowen on business, and that if this chap arrived before he got back, he should be shown into the study to wait. Mr. Davenheim then walked out the front door, down the drive, and out of the gate. And that was it. He was never seen again. Vanished completely. Charming, my friend murmured. A very pretty little problem. Continue. About 15 minutes later, Jap went on. A tall, dark man with a thick black mustache rings the bell, says his name is Lowen, and that he has an appointment. So, he's shown into the study. Nearly an hour goes by, and still no sign of Davenheim. Eventually, Mr. Lowen says he can't wait any longer, or he'll miss his train back to London. Mrs. Davenheim apologizes, saying she can't understand where her husband has got to. Lowen says his goodbyes and leaves. Well, as you know, Davenheim never came back. On Sunday morning, the police were called in, but we couldn't make head nor tail of it. It's like he just evaporated. He never went to the post office, and no one saw him in the village. The station staff are adamant he didn't get a train. His own car was still in the garage, and if he'd hired a car to pick him up somewhere, you'd think the driver would have come forward by now, what with the massive reward being offered. There was a small race meeting nearby. Japad, if he'd walked to that station, he might have slipped through unnoticed in the crowd. But since then, His photo has been everywhere. Still nothing. We've had letters from all over the country. Of course. But every lead has been a dead end. Then, on Monday morning, another bombshell. There's a safe hidden behind a curtain in Davenheim's study. It had been broken into and completely emptied. The windows, the detective asked quietly, fastened securely from the inside, which rules out an ordinary burglar, unless he had an accomplice in the house who locked up after him. Of course, with all the chaos over the weekend, it's possible the break-in happened on Saturday and just wasn't noticed until Monday. Precisely, my friend said dryly. And this, Mr. Lowen? Is he under arrest? Chap grinned. Not yet, but he's under a very, very close watch. And what was taken from this safe? We've been looking into it with the junior partner and Mrs. Davenheim. Turns out there was a huge amount of cash in bearer bonds and banknotes from a recent business deal. On top of that, a fortune in jewelry. Mrs. Davenheim kept all her gems in there. Her husband had developed a real passion for buying them for her over the last few years. Scarcely a month went by without him giving her some rare, expensive piece. A very good haul indeed, the detective said thoughtfully. Now, this Lowen. What was his business with Davenheim? Well, they weren't on the best of terms, apparently. Lowen is a small-time speculator, but he's managed to get the better of Davenheim on the market once or twice. They rarely actually met, though. This appointment was about some South American shares, so Davenheim had interests in South America. I believe so. His wife mentioned he spent all of last autumn in Buenos Aires. Any trouble at home? Were he and his wife on good terms? Seems so. A peaceful, uneventful domestic life, by all accounts. Mrs. Davenheim is a pleasant woman, if a bit unintelligent. A non-entity. Really, then the solution does not lie there, my friend mused. Any enemies? Plenty of business rivals, I'm sure. People he'd bested in deals who probably didn't send him Christmas cards, but no one who'd be likely to do away with him. And even if they did, where's the body? As your friend Hastings says, bodies have a nasty habit of turning up. One last thing, Jap said. One of the gardeners thinks he saw a figure walking towards the rose garden at the side of the house. The long French windows of the study open out onto it, and Davenheim often used them as a door. The gardener was too far away to be sure if it was his master, but the timing fits just before 6 o'clock. And what is beyond the rose garden? A lake? Said Jap. With a boathouse. And yes, before you ask, Miller is heading down there tomorrow to have the whole thing dragged. He doesn't miss a trick, that man. The detective smiled faintly, then turned to me. Hastings, my friend, would you be so good as to pass me that copy of the Daily Chronicle? I believe it has an unusually clear photograph of the missing man. I found the paper and handed it over. He studied the picture intently. He murmured. Hair rather long and wavy, a full mustache and a pointed beard. Bushy eyebrows, yes, that's right. Hair and beard turning grey. He nodded slowly. Well, Inspector, what is your final thought on all this? Clear as daylight, is it not? On the contrary, the detective replied. It is most obscure. Jap looked pleased, which gives me great hope of solving it. My friend finished calmly. I always find it a good sign when a case is obscure. When something seems as clear as day, I immediately suspect that someone has gone to great trouble to make it look that way. Jap just shook his head, pitying my friend's strange logic. He got up to leave, and I walked him to the door. Seems a bit of a shame, doesn't it? He whispered to me, like robbing a child. I couldn't help but smile in agreement. When I returned to the room, my friend was waiting for me. Ah, he said, shaking a finger at me playfully. You are making fun of me. Yes, you do not trust the little gray cells. But come, let us discuss this little problem. It is incomplete, I admit, but it already presents 1 or 2 points of very great interest. The lake, I said, with a knowing look, and the boathouse. He just smiled that infuriatingly mysterious smile of his, and I knew it was useless to question him any further. We didn't see Jap again until the following evening. He burst in around 9 o'clock, his face alight with news. Well, my friend, the detective remarked calmly, it seems all is going well. But do not tell me you have found Mr. Davenheim's body in the lake, because I will not believe you. We haven't found the body, Japa announced dramatically. But we did find his clothes. The exact suit he was wearing that day, sunk at the bottom. Are any other clothes missing from the house? My friend asked instantly. No. His valet is certain. The rest of his wardrobe is untouched. But there's more. We've arrested Lowen. One of the maids swears she saw him walking through the rose garden towards the study just 10 minutes before he left the house. And what does he say to that? Denied it at first, Jap replied. Said he never left the study, but the maid was positive. So he changed his story. Claimed he'd just stepped out of the window for a moment to look at an unusual type of rose. A pathetic excuse, if you ask me. And that's not all. Mr. Davenheim always wore a heavy gold ring with a big diamond on his little finger. Well, that very ring was pawned in London on Saturday night by a petty crook named Billy Kellett. A man known to us did 3 months last year for nicking a gentleman's watch. He tried to pawn the ring at 5 different shops, finally managed it, got completely bladdered on the money, picked a fight with a policeman, and got himself arrested. We saw him at Bow Street this morning. He's sober now and terrified. We hinted he could be up for a murder charge, and he sang like a canary. This is his story, Jap continued. He was out at the races on Saturday, probably picking pockets, had a bad day, lost his money, and was trudging back towards the village. He sat down in a ditch to rest. A few minutes later, he sees a man walking down the road, a dark-complexioned gent with a big mustache, he says. One of those city types. Kellett was hidden by a pile of stones. Just as the man got level with him, he glanced up and down the road, then took something small from his pocket and tossed it over the hedge into the field, before carrying on towards the station. The object made a little glint as it fell, which got Kellett curious. He had a look around and found the ring. That's his tale. Lowen, for his part, denies every word of it. Of course, You can't trust a thing a jailbird like Kellett says. It's possible he's the one who met Davenheim, robbed him, and did him in. The detective shook his head. Very improbable, my friend. First, he had no way of disposing of the body. We would have found it by now. Second, pawning the ring so openly makes it unlikely he committed murder to get it. Third, a common sneak thief is rarely a murderer. And fourth, since he has been locked up since Saturday night, it is too much of a coincidence that he can give such an accurate description of Mr. Lowen. Jap nodded. You're probably right, but it's still his word against Lowen's. What I do and get is why Lowen would unfind a cleverer way to get rid of the ring. My friend simply shrugged. Perhaps he thought, if it were found nearby, people would assume Davenheim himself had dropped it. But why take it off the body in the first place? I cried. Ah, said Jap grimly. There might be a reason for that. Just beyond the lake, there's a small gate that leads out onto a hill. And not a 3-minute walk from there is a line kill. Good heavens! I gasped. You mean the lime would destroy the body but be powerless against the gold and diamond of the ring? Exactly, said Jap. It seems to me, I declared, that explains everything. What a monstrous crime! We both turned to look at my friend. He was lost in thought, his brow furrowed in concentration. I could almost hear the little gray cells worry. At last, the great intellect was at work. What would he say? We waited, holding our breath. Finally, he let out a long sigh, the tension leaving his body. He turned to Jap and asked, My friend, have you any idea whether Mr. and Mrs. Davenheim occupied the same bedroom? The question was so utterly bizarre, so completely out of left field, that Jap and I just stared at him in stunned silence. Then Jap burst out laughing. Blimey! I thought you were about to come out with something As for your question, I'm sure I don't know. Could you find out? The detective asked, with a strange persistence. Oh, certainly. If you really want to know. Thank you. I would be most grateful if you would make a point of it. Jap stared at him for a moment longer, but my friend seemed to have drifted off into his own world again. The inspector shook his head sadly at me, murmured, Poor old chap. The war was too much for him, and quietly let himself out. While the detective remained lost in his daydream, I took out a piece of paper and started scribbling down my own thoughts on the case. His voice suddenly broke the silence. He was looking at me, bright and alert once more. So, he said with an approving nod, you have become methodical at last. What have you written? Feeling rather pleased with myself, I cleared my throat and began to read. 1. All the evidence points to Lowen being the man who broke into the safe. 2. He had a grudge against Davenheim. 3. He lied when he said he never left the study. 4. If you believe Billy Callett's story, then Lowen is undeniably guilty. I paused, waiting for his praise. Well? I asked. He just looked at me with pity, shaking his head gently. My dear friend, you do not have the gift. You never appreciate the truly important details, and your reasoning is all wrong. How? I demanded. Let us take your points. 1. Lowen could not possibly have known he would get a chance to open the safe. He came for a business meeting. He couldn't know Davenheim would be out. And the tools. A city gentleman does not carry a set of burglar's tools with him on the off chance. 2. You say Lowen had a grudge, but he was the one who had bested Davenheim in business. One does not usually bear a grudge against a man one has got the better of. It is far more likely the grudge was on Davenheim's side. 3. Yes, he lied about leaving the study, but he was likely frightened. A man is missing. His clothes are found in a lake. Of course, he should have told the truth. And 4. Your fourth point. You are right. If Killet's story is true, Lowen is undeniably implicated, and that he finished with a flourish is what makes this affair so very interesting. So I did get one thing right, I said, perhaps. But you have completely overlooked the 2 most important clues of all. The 2 facts that hold the key to this entire matter. And what are they? Pray tell. First, he said, ticking them off on his fingers, Mr. Davenheim's recent passion for buying expensive jewelry. And second, his trip to Buenos Aires last autumn. You're joking, I said. I am most serious. I do hope Jap does not forget my little errand. Jap, entering into the spirit of the thing, had not forgotten. A telegram was delivered the next morning. My friend asked me to open it. I read it aloud. Husband and wife have occupied separate rooms since last winter. Ah, he cried, his eyes twinkling, and we are now in the middle of June. It is all solved. I stared at him, bewildered. Do you have any money in Mr. Davenheim's bank? He asked me. No, I said, wondering what on earth he was talking about. Why? Because I would advise you to withdraw it immediately. I expect the bank to collapse in a few days, perhaps sooner. With that, he grabbed a pencil and a telegraph form. We shall return Jap's compliment, he said. Scribbling furiously, he handed it to me. It read, advise you withdraw any money deposited with firm in question. That will intrigue our good Jap. He chuckled. His eyes will pop. He will not understand in this lattice, not until tomorrow. I remained doubtful, but the next day's papers forced me to admit my friend's genius. Huge headlines screamed the news. The sensational failure of the Davenheim Bank, the disappearance of the famous financier suddenly looked very different. We were halfway through breakfast when the door flew open and Jap stormed in, a newspaper in one hand and our telegram in the other. He slammed it down on the table. How did you know? He demanded. How in blazes could you possibly know? My friend smiled placidly. My friend, after your telegram, it was a certainty. From the beginning, that business with the safe seemed odd. Jewels, cash, bonds, all so conveniently arranged for someone to steal. It seemed almost certain that someone was Davenheim himself. His passion for buying jewelry, so simple. He was embezzling the bank's funds, converting the cash into portable jewels, probably replacing the real ones with fakes. He was building a new fortune under a new name to be enjoyed when the coast was clear. His plan was meticulous. He arranges an appointment with Lowen, A man who has crossed him in the past and makes a perfect scapegoat. He forces the safe himself, leaves instructions for Lowen to be shown into the study, and then he simply walks out of the house. But where did he go? Jap demanded, leaning forward. My friend paused, frowning at his boiled egg. It is truly insupportable. He muttered that every hen lays an egg of a different size. What symmetry can there be on the breakfast table? Never mind the eggs, Jap cried impatiently. Tell us where he went. The detective calmly finished his tidying and then beamed at us. Come now, my friends, you are intelligent men. Ask yourselves the question I ask myself. If I were this man, where would I hide? Well, I ventured, I think I'd stay right here in London, lose myself in the crowds, travel by tube and bus. There's safety in numbers. I disagree, said Jap. I'd get clear away. A yacht waiting with steam up off to some forgotten corner of the world before anyone even knew I was gone. We both looked at the detective. A curious smile played on his lips. My friends, he said softly, if I were hiding from the police, do you know where I would hide? In a prison? We both just stared. What? You are searching for Mr. Davenheim in order to put him in prison. A explained so it would never occur to you to look and see if he might not already be there. Jap, you tell me that Mrs. Davenheim is not a very intelligent woman. Nevertheless, I suggest you take her to Bow Street, confront her with the man Billy Kellett. I think she will recognize him, despite the shaved head, the cropped hair, and the lack of his mustache and bushy eyebrows. A wife nearly always knows her husband. Billy Kellett, he continued, is known to the police. Did I not tell you? Davenheim was a clever man. He created his alibi months in advance. He was not in Buenos Aires last autumn. He was right here in London, creating the character of Billy Kellett and even serving 3 months in prison for a minor crime so that the police would have a record of him. He was playing for a fortune and his freedom. It was worth doing properly. The only problem was that afterwards, to be himself again, he had to wear a false beard and wig. To sleep in such a disguise is not easy. It invites discovery. He could not risk his wife seeing him. And so, as you discovered for me, they began to occupy separate rooms. When you confirmed that, I was sure. On the day of his disappearance, he went to the boathouse, changed into his Billy Kellett disguise, dumped his own clothes in the lake, and then went to London. He pawned the ring in an obvious way to frame Lowen, then deliberately assaulted a policeman to get himself arrested, safely tucked away in a prison cell, the one place on earth nobody would ever think of looking for him. It's impossible, Jap. Ask his wife. My friend replied with a gentle smile. The very next day, a registered letter arrived. My friend opened it, and a crisp £5 note fluttered onto his breakfast plate. He frowned. Oh dear, he said with a sigh. What shall I do with this? It was really too easy. I feel as though I have robbed a child. Then his face brightened. Ah, an idea. We shall have a little dinner, we three. To celebrate, that consoles me. Illuminated me a twinkle in his eye. My friend, why are you laughing so? Thank you for allowing me to be a part of your night. May you find deep peace and restful sleep. Wishing you the sweetest dreams. If you liked it, please like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.